Hey folks, today we are taking a look at Transformers Prime Voyager class Dreadwing. I picked this guy up at my local Toys R Us. Now, one word of warning, this figure is in fact short-packed, meaning there is only one of Dreadwings in the box that comes with the other figures. So this figure is a Voyager class figure, and I've got him here next to Voyager class Prime from the first edition. And as you can see, Prime is larger. Now, that does make sense because the first edition figures were all larger than the current Voyager figures. This figure is a nice figure, molded in blue, this weird transparent yellow, gold for the face, red eyes, and silver, I guess. I guess this is more of a silver or gray, and of course, black. Overall, the figure does look okay in robot mode. It's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. It is mistransformed when you get it out of the box. This piece right here is actually sitting on his butt, and then the wings are folded right up against the back, which is incorrect. They should be pointing out a little bit. And I have some issues with the wings, which I will talk about in a little bit. It does come with two weapons, the first of which being this solid plastic sword, which could use a little bit of paint. And the other thing it comes with is this. It's your typical stupid American weapon. I hate these things for the Voyager class figures. Yes, it has a little red laser in there. It's okay. It's really dumb. It does not work at all. It does not stay deployed at all. Though it feels like it should. It feels like that they designed it so that you can maybe twist it a little bit and get it latched on up here, or maybe latched on somewhere over here so that it would stay deployed, but unfortunately it does not. So it is molded after his gun in the show, but I don't care because this is a piece of junk, so we won't be talking about this anymore. The Dreadwing figure is pretty darn posable. It's got a lot of posability built in. Head is on a ball joint, and the ball joint is very tight, so you can get a lot of posability there. Shoulders are on this hinge, which is part of the transformation, and as you see, they have a tendency to droop a bit, but that does add some posability. The shoulder itself is on a ball joint, then under that is a swivel and a hinge joint for the elbow, and the hands can rotate 360 degrees. No real torso articulation because of the transformation. Hip is on a ball joint. There is a swivel, but the swivel is limited due to the way the plastic rubs up against it. And then a 90-degree bend at the knee, no foot articulation. Head sculpt for Dreadwing is nice. This is definitely Dreadwing. Though I would have liked to have seen some gold coloring in the fins or the antenna coming off the side. That would have been nice, as he has that in the show. I'm sure the Japanese version of this figure will have it, but hey, this is the American one, and you know how Hasbro hate its paint apps. Even though I do like the robot mode, I don't really consider this Dreadwing, and the reason is simply because this does not have the same proportions as he does in the show. I know that's a very strange way of looking at it, and a very nitpicky thing to say, but I don't think that this is a very good representation of Dreadwing. He's just way too thin. The Dreadwing in the show is much bulkier, much more stout, you would say. In fact, he looks like a linebacker that turns into a plane, as opposed to a more thinly represented figure as we have here. My only other issue in robot mode is the arms. I really do hate the fact that the arms droop like this. I would have liked to have seen it peg in somehow. There is some resistance, or increased resistance, the closer you get to the back part where it kind of stops, but there's nothing actually holding the arms in place, and I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more added plastic to actually clip into place, but that's yet another thing that could break. And speaking of broken, the wings. The wings are an issue. This wing is fine. This wing, however, the pin has slid out, and I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but it's actually dug into the other side of the plastic where the pin is supposed to be going through. I've tried to fix it with a pair of needle nose pliers, but it's just not working. The plastic is far too damaged on my figure, and when I get this guy into vehicle mode, you'll see what this damage does. It actually prevents this whole wing assembly from sitting correctly. It's not a huge deal, but it is a problem. So we'll take a look at that in a minute here. But it's just really unfortunate because the figure would be really, really, really good, in my opinion, if that problem didn't exist. The other issue I have with the robot mode, well, it's not with the robot mode, it's with the figure itself, are the fins, like the tail fins, the side fins, his things on his knees. They're all super soft, rubbery plastic, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. But it's a safety thing. I understand why it's there. It's just stupid. So, let's go ahead and get into the transformation. So here we have Dreadwing in vehicle mode. Now from the front and the top, the vehicle mode looks really good. I like the vehicle mode from the front and the top. If you turn the figure all the way around, however, oh my, he has a bunch of hands sticking out of his vehicle mode's butt. Now, this is very reminiscent of Valkyries and other planes from the Macross series. It's also reminiscent of a couple of other Transformers. And then underneath, he's just got a whole bunch of robot kibble. I'm sorry, this big gray piece hanging off the fuselage of the vehicle mode is just really dumb. It doesn't work, it's not aerodynamic at all. It just completely fails for me. But if you cover that up, I think the vehicle mode looks fine as long as that bit is covered up. Now, remember I was talking about that broken pin in robot mode? This is the problem. This piece, this pin, and you can actually get a better look at it there. As you can see, the plastic is completely ripped up on that pin. And this is the way the figure was out of the box. Now, I've been trying to fix it or figure a way out to fix it. What I'm probably going to have to do is push the pin out and then get a new nail or pin or something and just slide it in between and then clip it off. That's probably what I'm going to have to do, if I do anything at all. It sits okay in vehicle mode, and you can put either the weapon or the sword right here on top. Overall, though, I don't care for the vehicle mode all that much. I think this is the real deal breaker for me. Having the wing sit like that, no matter how you try to push it down, just is a real deal breaker for me. I really, really wish that this wasn't a problem. It really is unfortunate, because overall, I think the vehicle mode isn't that bad. It's just got a lot of junk and kibble hanging off of it. As I pointed out, there are some issues with Voyager class Dreadwing. This is not a perfect figure by any means. Is it a bad figure? No. But is it a good figure? I'm going to have to say no. And I have to say no, because this figure has disappointed me in a couple of different respects. One, the paint. I just really do not like the paint on the figure. I think there needs to be more detailing. Two, the proportions. That I can actually kind of ignore a little bit. It is annoying to me, but to a lot of fans, it's not going to bother them whatsoever. Three, this issue with the wing is unacceptable. I'm sorry. In a figure that is a mass release like this, you cannot have such a defective part. You just can't. Yes, I can fix it, but a 12-year-old kid, is probably not going to be able to fix that. And that's a real problem. With the rarity of this figure, just having that broken issue, I mean, it pretty much negates an entire mode, or the usefulness of an entire mode. That is a huge issue. And finally, my last issue with the figure is this doesn't feel like a good toy. If that makes any sense, this figure, the plastic, and this might just be me, the plastic doesn't feel good. The plastic does not feel good at all. It feels cheap. It feels like it's going to fall apart in any second. Now, compare that with the first edition Prime. The first edition Prime's plastic feels tough. The Dreadwing's does not, and I don't know why. Maybe I just have a bad batch of figure, or a bad figure from a bad batch of plastic. But this figure just does not feel right. Especially the gray plastic. The gray plastic feels like it could break at any second, and it feels like it's going to start degrading on me, if that makes any sense. I feel like I can't have this figure out on the shelf, otherwise what elements we have here in the house are going to eat away at the plastic. It's that kind of weird, cheap feeling plastic. And I understand Hasbro needs to, I don't know, save some money, but when the quality of the figures really start to suffer, that's when I have a problem. So, in summation, I really can't recommend Dreadwing. Only get this figure if you have to have it. If you have to have a Dreadwing figure, I would highly recommend the Cyberverse Dreadwing. That's a much better figure, a much more enjoyable figure, and a much cheaper figure. But if you've got to have a larger class figure, you can get this if you want, but be forewarned of the issues that I am having with mine. I don't know if that's widespread, but like I said, they obviously are cutting corners here.